For game week 26, I told you could consider these players as captaincy choices, and they all provided massive returns for most managers who had them. Before we have a look at these players, I would like you to kindly hit that subscribe button, like, comment. Let's know how your team also fared for game week 26, and we would break down how things went for game week 26. So FPL managers game week 26 is done. As I said, I gave some few options you could consider for your captaincy choices to boost your ranks. And one top of the list, I told you to consider Declan Rice, and he provided a massive returns for most managers who owned him. I also told you to consider Haaland, who also provided massive returns for managers that owned him. I also spoke about Gabriel as a differential, and he also provided some good returns for most managers that owned him. So let me know who you had, what was your captaincy choice, and how well you did heading into game week 26. So we'll just have an overview of how things went for the game week. So the average being 58 points, highest being 138. We see how what he did different. So this manager had the likes of Virgil van Dijk, he had Gabriel, he had Magay, he had Palmer, he had Rice, who I mentioned, he had Madueke, he tripled Captain Madueke, so that was a bold move, and he had massive returns for that. He had Semenyo, he had Mbuebo, he had Larson, he had Luca, and he had Joao Pedro on the bench. So I think he could have swapped, but all in all, his team was very solid, and that was a very good performance from him. So that's how his team was looking. Let's see how the fixtures went by for game week 26. So it started on with Chelsea. They played a 2-2 draw with Leeds United. Bournemouth beating Everton by 2 goals to 1. Newcastle beating Spurs also by 2 goals to 1. West Ham and Manchester United playing a 1-1 draw. Then it was followed by Aston Villa playing a 1-0 win. They played a 1-0. They had a 1-0 win over Brighton. City beating Fulham by 3 goals to 0. Nottingham Forest, they played a goalless draw with Wolves. Then we had Burnley beating Crystal Palace by 3 goals to 2. Liverpool beating Sunderland by that 1 goal. Then we had the double game week for Arsenal. So it started with a 1-1 draw. That was Brentford, Arsenal. That was a 1-1 draw. And the second game as well was also a draw, but that was a 2-2 draw against Wolves. So rather unfortunate for Arsenal, they dropped some points over their double game weeks. But most managers that had some few performers in there would be happy with the greens that they had. But as a team, they dropped some points, which let's see how it goes for the title race, which is shaping up to be very interesting. So let's see what some managers did worldwide. So number one worldwide, he rose to number one. So he had the likes of Gabriel, he had Virgil, he had Declan Rice, he had Joao Pedro, he had Haaland. Yeah, so that was very, very nice from him. This manager ranked number two, also rose. So he had Virgil, he had Gabriel, he had Declan Rice, Captain Declan Rice, very good. Played bench boost, didn't get much from it, but it still paid off. So that is good. Then this manager ranked number three, so he had Haaland, the captain Haaland, he had Joao Pedro, he had Declan Rice, he had Gabriel. So it looks like the constants. If you really wanted to see some good points or have some good points, you would be looking at Haaland, you'd be looking at Rice, you'd be looking at Joao Pedro, you could also be looking at Gabriel. And we had Virgil van Dijk in the mix. I mentioned most of these players, so if you had them, that is a good one from you. So stay tuned, always stay engaged, listen to our tips, and I'm sure you'll be seeing some greens for the game week. So very important, you always want to consider your FDL, get a view of how the games will be looking heading into the other fixtures. So over the next few game weeks, there's how things will be looking like. So we have us now. they have some tricky fixtures coming up. You look at Wolves, Aston Villa, sorry, they have some good fixtures over the next 2 game weeks. So you go through, you realize that there are some teams that have some relatively good fixtures, after which you would want to be very careful. So Chelsea have that good game with Burnley against Burnley, but after that they have some tricky fixtures coming up. You look at City, they have some okay fixtures coming up. Arsenal, as we mentioned already, they have some tricky fixtures coming up, so you want to be cautious. Manchester United have some good games coming up, somewhat tricky ones in there as well. Liverpool, so I think Liverpool have also a good set coming up. So you look at this, if you want to use a wild card, you'd want to consider some Liverpool players in there. You want to also consider some City players. You'd want to be looking at some Sunderland players, as all these teams have some relatively very good matches coming up. You want to also consider some Manchester United players. And all in all, you should be good to go. Aston Villa, Bournemouth, Brentford, they have some good fixtures coming up. So you'd want to really consider this heading into the game, because it's heading into the next couple of games as it's played to be very vital. So for my team, I ended up with 67 points. I captained Haaland. I had the likes of Declan Rice, Semenyo, Joao Pedro, and they were my top performers for the game week. So heading into game week 27, we could mix things up. So would give you a video of how things look at, some players to look at, and also your captaincy choice, who to captain. Stay tuned. We are out.